This is Valerie Van Boeven with the Senior Care Industry Netcast, where leaders with 3 or more years of experience in the senior care industry share their advice. So let's get to it. In a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, Valerie. My name is Rita Lynne, and I do a lot of things, but primarily I own a company called All Generations Home Care here in Denver, Colorado, where we've been really just at capacity for probably over 20 years now. And then we have another company which has nothing to do with this. I was telling you about it. It's Fiber Arch. But we just had a brand new launch this week of another industry that we are really focused on, and that is making sure that the women that want to become owners have an opportunity to do this at not a high cost. And so we just launched Progressive Senior Businesses this past week. And it's a fabulous way for, I mean, how many do we know? Women that have said, you know what, I really want to do a little bit more, a little bit more. And it's a great, economically, it's a great way to start right off. And we go right away into making sure that they've got all the things they need. It's about a 10-month program. So that's us.
Very nice. And I love it that you're helping new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who just want to get into this space. So I'd love to know everything about all your businesses. Just give me a little hint about for your newest adventure
Yes.
in that 10-month course. What do you guys go over? What do you teach people?
That's a really good question because it can be so wide. Well, first of all, I think the most important thing is that we have whoever the woman is, she joins a group. She has a one-on-one with her coach for over 10 months. And then what we do is decide, okay, how are we going to focus on her goals? How does she best serve her community? So it's custom built exactly for whatever is needed in her environment. And then we start with everything of like, how do you get the right care providers? How do you make sure that they're well trained? How do you make sure that you've got the right policies and procedures? We have all of those in a mass library that
Wow.
can help them out. But I think probably the most beneficial thing is it's so cost effective, and you start right away being able to make income. You know, I've been doing this for over 30 years. And so I became my own model for this. And, you know, I've already taught over 100 women how to do this and to do it effectively. And I'm at that age where I want to give back. So that I appreciate you asking about it because I love doing this.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know that there are, and of course yours is brand new. I know there are other business opportunities out there where people teach others how to get into the home care business, or maybe assisted living or care homes or whatever senior business they want to get into.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can be a little cost prohibitive, just because there's a huge investment up front. So I'm glad that you're able to help others without some of that gigantic cost.
Well,
And
I think just to come right up front I mean, we can start out right off with less than $1,000 a month, and they're in
nice,
right away.
nice. That's
Yeah,
very good.
yeah,
So
it is.
yeah,
It's good. And then the other thing is just to make sure. I mean, so many of the people that have worked for me, Valerie, have said that they wanted to, have their own business. I'm
mhm,
all in on that. So they were kind of the motivators that got us thinking in this way.
good. That's excellent. That means you've got a lot of folks that have worked for you in the past and work for you now who really love what they do. And finding those kinds of caregivers and staff members is hard. Those are golden nuggets, diamonds that we need to keep around us for
Well, I
sure.
tell you, we've been really
So,
blessed because I've
uh,
got some gals that have been with me 15 years.
man, oh man, they must love working for you. That's excellent. You hear all the time about high turnover rates and how it's so hard to keep staff. And I know that that happens to everybody. I mean, people do come and go in this
Yeah.
business, but
Yeah.
but when you can say that you have staff that you trust that's been with you for 15 years, that speaks volumes to the ownership. It really does, because
Thank
that means you're taking good care of those people.
Absolutely. That's the first thing I say in the interview is, I've got your back. You do your work and I've got your back. And it's proven to be a commitment that I definitely fulfill with them. Yeah, when
Mhm.
I said, kind of look back on this, it was like, wow. And over 100 women that I've taught how to own their own businesses. And is that really me? Well, yeah, all right, let's just keep going. So,
That's cool. That's very nice.
you
Awesome. Well, we'll put links to all of your websites with your videos so that if folks want to learn more about how they can get involved, they
Valerie,
should.
that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to make sure that our men and our women, but I'm focused on the women entrepreneurs, let's make sure they can be happy and that they can give to their community. With who else? I mean, who's better? I mean, the market of our elders is something that really needs our love.
Yeah, there's no shortage of, if every, I always tell people, if every home care agency in your local area took all the clients that they could possibly take, there would still be underserved seniors. There are people that still would need care that aren't getting it because they either don't know about it
Yeah,
or whatever the case.
I so
Or
agree with you.
yeah, or they're coming up, they're getting to that age where they're about to need care. So I know in some places are super competitive, totally understand that as well. We have some communities that are very competitive. A lot of communities are very competitive, but still, at the end of the day, it's about serving that senior. And if you do your marketing well,
Yeah.
if you are good at what you do, and you're very focused on the needs of that family and that senior, especially, the new clients will come.
And you and I have something in common, which is that I don't see my the other agency owners as competitors. We have found as women that if we help each other, oh my gosh, we share everything that we've got. We've even shared like, hey, I can't fill that shift. Can you help me out? I'd be glad to do that. But I think the most important thing that we did is we made sure we had a friendship based on honesty. And honestly, in the state of Colorado, we had a major influence in being able to change a lot of legislature so that it benefited our agencies much more than it had in the past. So, yeah, they're not your enemies, they're your friends.
Yes, I would absolutely say that. I think that that piece of knowledge that you just gave us comes from years of experience. A new person out there is going to feel intimidated by the competition, but somebody who knows they do a good job and has been around the block for a while, and this is for all you newbies out there, if you really are doing a good job, that new person that just walked in the door to that meeting is not your competition. They are someone who might be able to learn from you, learn how to do it the right way. There's someone who might be able to staff your case one day. So
Yep,
don't burn bridges. Just welcome everybody with open arms. Be the honest person, and karma will pay you back nicely. That's what.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
you said it beautifully. That is so true. Don't worry about them. Everybody will help you out. We're in an industry where that is really the primary goal.
Yeah,
Reach out.
that we everybody has the same goal. We're working towards making sure that person lives with dignity and respect in their home for as long as they possibly can, or wherever they live.
Yeah.
And so we help each other. Okay, so let me get back to a couple of my questions here. What is the best thing about serving aging adults?
Giving back. Absolutely, that's it. When I walk in a door and I see this precious and, in my words, vulnerable person, I want them to know, you know what? We're here. We are your assistants. You tell us what you want because we do non-medical services. We will make sure that this is done. And you can see their shoulders drop. You can see the eyes change. It's like they heard every word that we said. And of course, if I'm going to commit, we're going to deliver for sure. But that to me is so rewarding. I went through watching both my parents age in another state. And that was really the motivation for us to say, wait a minute, who advocates for these people when they live out of the adults live out of state? So the rewards, like I tell my crew, if you can end your day knowing that you made a difference in one person's life, you've done an excellent job. So that's how I look at it. We get the rewards of knowing that smile means a lot to them.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Great words of wisdom there too. All right, I would imagine in your life,
Yes.
in your professional life, in your young life, there have been people, maybe parents, grandparents, and other people who have really made an impact on you, and probably some organizations out there that have meant a lot to you. So who would you like to talk about?
Well, thank you for that question because that's deep. So thank you so
Yeah.
very much. Well, I would have to say probably my mom. Um, she was in her world where she was volunteering in the hospital was a very big deal. And I watched her, you know, I called it the sunshine smile. She just would light up wherever she was. I mean, she's a joyful Irish woman and had a great smile and a great attitude. And there was never anything she couldn't conquer. She just went and went and went. I would say in today's world, we need to take a good look and appreciation for AARP because they have been all encompassing in finding out for us. They've done a lot of good research to let us know where not only our elders can find things locally, like who can shovel my walk, who can mow my lawn, up to who's got the latest information on Alzheimer's, on heart disease, and especially on COVID right now. We really need to be up to date on that. So I think in a short, brief way, I think that's, look to those agencies. They've impressed me, the ones that are really geared toward our seniors. But I must also say that I look at what you're doing, and this is not, I haven't been paid to do this pitch, but absolutely the way that you have exposed and the opportunities for us to have the knowledge and research that we need. Don't stop. We really, really need that.
Yeah, well, I agree. And like I always tell everybody, this is a kind of a creative outlet for me. We do these interviews for free, like you said, but I have learned so much about the hundreds and hundreds. I mean, we're on maybe interview 105 or something like that. But over the years and beyond that, there just are so many people out there who have amazing ideas, amazing talent, amazing experiences and wisdom, and we don't get to talk to each other right now, especially even locally very much, and as far as like networking and that. So just to be able to learn from someone else, either listen to a podcast or watch a video or read the transcript and just learn where people came from and what their experience is, I think it's just helpful in general. So thank you for, that's
I
why I
think,
was saying.
yeah, really being able to just get another point of view. You will always find something, some little nugget in there that is like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. Okay, so let's talk about online marketing. Online marketing has become more and more important over the last year simply because it's so hard to network in person. What has been your experience, your thoughts? What do you guys do?
Well, I would say that the biggest advice I would give is, number one, do your research.
Mhm.
Who are you trying to market to? Now, if you're trying to market to the adult kids to see if they are interested in your product, then you got to find out where they are. That's a broad statement as far as I'm concerned, Valerie, because that means somebody could take that statement and say, okay, I'm going to check Instagram, I'm going to go on Facebook, I'm going to go on LinkedIn, I'm going to go on Twitter. And I'm saying, stop right
Mhm.
there.
Yep.
Find out where, get focused, find out where your people are that you want to talk to about your business. And
Mhm.
it could be someplace like LinkedIn, do your research on that. It
Mhm.
could be someplace like Facebook, or it could be the old famous rabbit hole where you just keep going and going and going, and nobody knows where you are. And you get so overwhelmed, you're not able to even control or function within the resources that you do have.
Yep.
Again, I'm going to refer back to you because I've seen your marketing. And when I started to read it, it was like, this is so perfect. You've covered every possible place where the audience that needs our help might be. So it's got to be something like that. But doing the research and deciding, focus in, who's your market? What are you trying to say? And go a step at a time. The other part of it is basically, this is where I am with it. I would rather hire somebody that heard my words and knew what I was looking for. They're the ones, they're like the expert. I wouldn't try to be a mechanic on my car. I
Me
would,
neither.
so
Not
I'm
my
going to
game.
hire somebody that I know listens to what I've got to say and knows where my market is. It's not an expense, it's an investment in me and my business.
It's the truth. That's true. And I will say, back to know where your market is. I would say that we have a lot of people who, and our clients too, will say to us, well, we need to be on Twitter, YouTube. And I'll say, I will tell you, in 13 years of doing this business for home care agencies, not one, and we're talking about thousands of agencies here, not one person has ever said, I just landed a client off of Twitter. It
Isn't
will
it? Yeah.
never happen.
Perfect, perfect. See what I mean? Perfect. I'll tell you honestly, the online marketing, if they have a good story to tell, people
Yes.
will listen to a good story. And
Stories are excellent.
yeah, they are excellent because most of us do have a story about taking care of our parents or our grandparents or whatever it is. And it's a beautiful way to be able to relate to the person that you haven't met yet, but they can understand what you're trying to tell them.
Yes, I think an About Us page often gets underappreciated for the value that it can bring. I see a lot of people having these generic About Us pages that just tells the same thing that everything else on the website said. I want to know who I'm doing business with. I want to see your face, and I want to know when the buck stops here. I want to know that if my mom's not having a good day or that caregiver did something wrong, who is it that's going to pick up that phone and make me feel better?
Oh, that's so well.
And so too, I mean, I want to know who's running the show. And so and most of us, I would say most of the people that are in any kind of senior care business have a reason for being there, and they have a story behind it. Not everybody, but most people. And they didn't get into this just to make money. I mean, we are all social service servants of
That's
some
right.
kind.
Yeah.
So, yes, we want to feed our families, but on the other hand, if anybody knew the struggles of a home care agency owner from day to day, they would be like, I get it. This has to come from your heart for sure.
I say that, okay, if you know how to play chess, we can talk. If you know
Yeah.
how to herd ants, we're in good shape.
Yeah. Yes. Her
The herding of the ants is gathering up all of the care providers. Yeah, you got it exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I totally get it. So yeah, I would say you're right about all those things, and everybody has a story. So share it, share that story, and don't just leave it on the About Us page. Share it in a blog post once in a while.
Yep.
The same people aren't reading your blog every day. In fact, unless it goes out in a newsletter, in my opinion, nobody's reading your blog.
I
Well,
agree.
they might be, but
Well,
not as much as you'd like.
that's right.
So you
Actually,
share your story over and over again. Once a quarter, share your story, add a little to it, or have an anecdote about it. Remind people where you came from, and I think that's really important.
yeah, you're so right on with that target. And then once you tell that story, that becomes the basis of really good marketing.
Yeah, it's not just about the logo on the homepage. It's really about who you are. You make that home care agency tick the way it does, because truly everything that happens in that home care agency starts at the top: the attitude, the mission, the vision, the values, and trickles down. And if it's good, then you're going to have everybody underneath you feeling good about that as well. So,
That's right. They will understand that you are there because you choose to be there, which is of service.
well, I'm glad that you're teaching new entrepreneurs, because you really are spot on with all of this. So I'm glad you're teaching new people
Thank
how
you.
to get into
I'm
this.
excited about that. I think that's going to give us a whole new, I mean, I see it already. I know it's there. I don't have any doubt about it. We are ready to go. I feel it already. Been churning in my mind for a very long time, but can you imagine this is going to be, I mean, when you think about it, everybody that, the baby boomers are going to need a lot of us. So we've
Uh,
really got to get the right people in there with the right belief systems to make sure they're all taken care of at the highest possible quality of care.
yes, I mean, we're just seeing, I mean, my husband's 9 years older than me, so he is at the very tail end of baby boomers. He's like the end of it, born in 1962. So
Okay.
we have 58 year olds who are just now starting to hit those years where it's potential that they might need care. We got a long way to go, and
Yeah.
a lot more people hitting those years. So
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. I know you've talked about a lot of great advice, and I think you've probably already said this, but tell us again, what piece of advice would you give to other senior care providers?
When you say senior care providers, the first thing that comes to my mind is actually the people that are doing the work. And I think they don't get enough praise. I make sure that they know, even if they just changed a sheet, that made a difference. I want them to realize that every moment that they are with somebody, making a meal, smiling, changing a sheet, being on a hospice case, being on a case where the person's bedbound, whatever it is, take pride in what you are doing because you are making a difference in that person's life.
Mhm.
As far as the care provider, business goes or the agency goes, I think you said it well, which is if you are presenting yourself with honesty and integrity, and be your just who you are and why you're here, it'll work. It'll smooth out beautifully for you. There's a saying that you can't push the river, but you certainly can build on good solid foundations. This isn't going to be an overnight success, although there are ways to start making money right away. But if you're
Mhm.
looking at the long term, you can make this happen. I mean, 42% of all the businesses are now run by women, and we don't tank at 5 years. I don't know what it is about us, but we're able to continue to succeed and succeed. And always reach out for the mentors. I mean, even the care providers, I'll have them get together. I'll make sure that they've got whatever they need, whatever's the latest news. To me, I don't know if that's the advice you're looking for, but that's where we go, is to make sure that we know that they're special. Every day I let them know how much we appreciate them. And That's like I said, to the one that does nothing more but pick up the groceries, that's a big deal. To the one that's on a hospice, same thing, big deal.
Hmm. I think you're right. The caregivers don't get enough. They don't get enough recognition, and they've been so brave throughout all this stuff in the last year. We're going on almost 1 year. At least in our family, I can remember our last dinner out together as a family was about 1 year ago, March 5th.
Yep.
My daughters turned 13 that day, and we took them and some friends out to dinner. And I remember thinking to myself, that was the last time as a big group that we could go somewhere without masks,
Yep.
without having to worry. I mean, that was it, pretty much. I mean, so
And
yes.
I also want to tell people, don't let the pandemic hold you back from starting a new business.
Oh no,
I mean, this is a pretty much a recession-proof business, but more importantly, like you had said earlier, there is so much need for our help out there.
yes.
If you got the right people to work with you, you're going to go ahead. That doesn't stop you. It doesn't get in your way. Hey, I got a sidebar for a minute. Did you say you took your daughters out for birthday? Does that
Yes.
mean like 2 daughters?
3. They're triplets. Yeah.
I have twins.
Oh, yeah, good. I always like to meet other mothers of multiples.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, yes. And years ago, when of course they're older now and they have their own children, but years ago I started several mother of twins clubs because I couldn't find anybody that was like me. So
Yes. Yes.
I think you can
Yeah,
appreciate the same thing, right?
yeah, we have in I think probably every metro area has this. We have a mothers of multiples group here in the St.
Yep.
Louis area, and there's also mothers of twins clubs and that. And we do things like sales that are specifically because we always have 3 of everything. So boy, do I have when they're little, I don't. It's not so much of an issue at 14, but when they're really little, you have cribs, you have 3 of every bouncy seat, you have 3, 3 sets of bottles, you have, I mean, 3 high chairs. So you have a lot of stuff to get rid of as they grow out of all those things. So there's sales and there's mentors, and I couldn't. I mean, I even remember being in the hospital before they were born. I was there a couple of weeks before they were born, and another mother of multiples had 9-month-olds, and she rolled them into the hospital room, and she said, "I just wanted you to see what this looks like."
Oh, oh,
Another one gave me, which seems kind of gross, but it was what I need. It was good. It was actually not that gross, but she gave me the video of the birth. She had a C-section, so it wasn't, you didn't see anything, but she
right,
wanted
right,
to
right.
see, sort of what I was going to experience, and she lent me her DVD or whatever it was at the time, and so we got to kind of see what that looks like, and I mean, so yeah, there's so much, just like in any support group, kind of. There's so
Yes.
much advice and a lot more now than I'm sure when you were a young mother and just trying to struggle through 2 kids.
Well,
It
I
does
think
take.
you brought up something though that I think is so good about women. And again, I don't know enough about men to know about this, but look at what happened with both of us. We
Mhm.
we had more than we could really take a look at, and your budget's going to go right down the toilet if you don't figure out something quickly.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was one of the saving graces for me, was number one, knowing that we could rotate the clothes and that would help because the clothes were always in good condition. The kids
Mhm.
grow so fast through them,
Mhm.
that having all the utilities that we need, like you said, the strollers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But again, the network, knowing that there were others out there. And what a gift for you when you're right in the hospital and someone comes in and says, here you go.
Yep, this is what this is the
Yeah,
stroller you need. This is what your kids are going to look like, and here's how you deal with it. So yeah, it was really good to have a network of women to talk to. And as your kids get older, then you become the mentor for others
yeah,
because they're just now starting out on this scary journey. And it does take a village. I would also say that we had
I
help. We
believe
didn't.
that.
We had hired help, and we had a little bit of family help in those beginning years. And I don't remember much about the first year of their life, to be honest with you. Sleep deprived, and we all were working, doing the best we could. And
Oh,
the
every
first
two
years of
hours. It was every 2 hours for many, many months.
oh yes, every 2 hours. So yes, absolutely. Yeah, like they've survived us, and they're going to be 14 in a couple of weeks. So we're very lucky.
Yes.
All right. So my last question is,
Yes.
when you have a win in life or business, how do you like to celebrate?
That's a really good question.
It's supposed to be my fun question, but everybody was always like,
Go
"What?"
deep with it, right? Well, for me, the first thing I feel is joy when there's a win. But honestly, I also immediately go to those that gave us the win, and that's usually going to be the care providers. I want them to know once again that they're so highly appreciated for what they've done, because you see that in the client's eyes also. So when we have a big win around a client, that's where we go, is like, hallelujah to you. Well, you've done a great job. We reward them in any way that we can, not only with words, but I think that's, to me, that's the most important thing, honoring the ones that have given us the big win. Because honestly, and I know you know what I mean, I wouldn't have a business if it wasn't for these wonderful care providers that are dedicated to our elders.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And I would say, back to honoring those caregivers, I hope that this is something I've learned over the years. Having seen in the business that we're in, we see a lot of testimonials and reviews.
Right.
And one of the things that has always struck me, that doesn't happen for anybody else, is that when someone passes away, if that family has had a home care agency in their life and had a specific caregiver, and that caregiver may think, well, yeah, I was there every day, but that caregiver is mentioned in that obituary. That caregiver is mentioned, or that home care agency, that person, those people who cared for that person at the end of their life are often mentioned in those final words. And you will not find anyone else, not their doctor, not anyone else in their life besides family, that is mentioned in that in those words, but their caregiver is. And that speaks volumes to how important this is.
Oh, that is, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is so true. That is
Yep.
just so true. They do become such an important part of making sure that the transition time, especially, was so key, and that they knew they could just, I mean, they could just depend on that person that was there. One of those I've got this moments for them that last until, they make the transition. I agree. There's so many stories we have that are fantastic like this in this industry. I
Yep.
just think we're very blessed to be where we are, being able to help those elders. When you think about what they've done, what their stories are, they're just so rich with life. I think we're just really gifted here.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, real quick, tell me what's behind you and what you do, because that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. What's behind me is what's called fiber art. And I teach nationally across the United States. And I'm not going to turn my head, but you can see it's dimensional art, which is what I'm known for. But I'll also show you something else that I've known for, and no one else does these. They're called vessels.
Oh, that's cute.
And so it's a fiber art that I do. And I teach, like I said, here's another one so that you know.
Ooh, beautiful.
And Valerie, it's a really great balance when you do so much clinical work like we do. And then I
Mhm.
want to do something creative. This works out really, really well. So what's back here is got embroidery on it. It's got fiber on it. It's got painting on it. And it's a great balance for me. And
Neat.
of course, with COVID, the way that it's been, I haven't been able to go to the different guilds across the United States. So I became a learn how to do Zoom rather quickly, but we've been able to accomplish a lot with that. So I have a
Nice.
website for that. We have a lot of patterns and we have classes, and it's just again, it's a service business to me to be able to show other people what they can do. And then if they want to teach it, I'm okay with that.
Nice.
So
That's
thank you for
beautiful. Well, thank
asking
you.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really pretty. So thank you. And we'll make sure that that information's with your video as well. So thank you very much for doing this interview. It was great to take extra time to learn about all the things that you're doing and enjoy your wisdom. So thank you.
Gosh, thanks, Valerie. You keep it up. You're doing a great job too. I'm going to keep my eye on you.
Thank you.